me think of Princess Diaries when the Lily's doing her show. We just watched Princess Diaries. Lily's you can't do that with your hand. And you need to pick up the mic.
No, you said we could pick up the mic.
But you're going to hear it's going to be better sound quality.
Mine has been better than yours because I've got a booming voice. What if I put it there?
I feel like I have a loud voice.
Yeah, but it's like high pitch.
Oh my gosh. By the way, I got some news this morning. I haven't told you yet. You know how I retested with Fertilizis? Well, we found another infection in my uterus. So frustrating. So for those that don't know, I've been doing, it's like microbiome testing of my uterus and hoo-ha. And a lot of like doctors here in the States don't do it because they just don't know how, but it can like highly affect your fertility. I think the first one we did was like back in October, November, and got my results back from that. And they found like HHV6 and endobacteria in my uterus. So I took antibiotics and antiviral to get rid of it. And then we retested again, and then a new one popped up. And then I also had candida, and then got rid of that. And then we just retested again. And now I have something called, let me pull it up, intrauterine Gardnerella.
Doesn't sound good.
No, but he's like Dr. V.
Do I have to take something for like cross-contamination purposes?
That's what I'm wondering. But he basically was like, we're just going to take care of this in Greece because it seems like the oral pills aren't working. Because it's not. Like, I keep taking these antibiotics and stuff, and like something new keeps happening. So for those of y'all that don't know, we're going to Greece, baby.
Greece.
We're going to Greece. Stephen, I need you to perk up.
I just woke up a little late today.
And I've already had my workout today. I'm on an endorphin high right now.
It's not a competition.
Just saying. I need you to perk up, Buttercup. But we're going to Greece. So I have partnered with Fertilizis after doing this testing with them, and they've just been so helpful and incredible. They're based out of Athens, Greece. And they came to me and they're like, what would you think about coming here? And we could do testing and then also treatment here. Because one of the treatments they want to do is an antibacterial and antibiotic wash of my uterus. And I guess, like, I don't know if that's not a thing here or it's super expensive.
It's super new. I read the case study on it. I think it was from like 2021 or 2022. So it's very new in terms of like clinical studies on it.
And my doctor has no idea how to do this. Like, my doctor here, like, she's clueless.
But it's not the clue. It's like literally so new. It's not her fault. Is what I'm saying.
No, yeah. No. Not blaming her at all. So we're going to Greece and we're taking 10 couples with us. So those of y'all that are interested, make sure you're following me over on Instagram, Adelaide_A_White. I've been putting lots of information out there. You can also DM me, email me if you're interested, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's 5 days or we'll work on the details?
Yeah, we're working on the details, but it looks like it's going to be the end of August. So it looks like they're trying to make it the most affordable for us. So they gave me some like ballpark pricing, but I told it to you last night. It was pretty inexpensive for
a 10-day total trip.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So it will be like 4 to 5 days in Athens, where we're going to be doing testing and treatment with Fertilizis. So you can go on their website and see all things Fertilizis-wise, like what they test for and all of that. I've had so many women that follow me do testing through them, and like, because you can do it from afar. Obviously, that's what we've been doing. And it's been really cool to see the results that they're getting. And yeah, anyways, so we're going to go to Athens for 4 to 5 days, do testing and treatment there. And that's really significant because they said that normally their clients, it takes like a month to do all this. And if you were to do it from afar, like where they send you everything, it takes like a month plus to get it all done. So it's going to be all done within a week, which is so cool. And then you're going to be able to actually have a holiday. Mm-hmm. I sound so European. A holiday. And Stephen, your brain.
Just wasn't a good joke.
What? Okay,
fine.
Anyways, you're going to be able to like actually go on a trip and go to like the islands and all of that. And we've actually done that.
Yeah, so this would be a repeat, but we'd get to try some new things because there were some islands we didn't get to go to. And
Yeah.
I think we want to go to Santorini this time.
Yeah, we got engaged in Greece. That was back in 2019, July of 2019. And we did some islands, and we went to Mykonos, which I don't know.
Mykonos is the party island of the big island. Santorini is more of like the romantic island. That's what they say. But I truthfully like the smaller island, like Paros, Syros.
Those were beautiful.
Hopefully we can go to Naxos this time. So
yeah, I'm excited. And Fertilisys is partnering with a travel agency to help work out all the details. So anyways, if you're interested, shoot me an email. I think that's the best way to reach me. My DMs get all messed up. So shoot me an email, AdelaideOFit@yahoo.com. I really want to change that. I really need to change that. Can you change it and still get the same email?
Your username?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyways, email me or make sure you're watching my stories because I've been talking about it and have a place for you to fill out the form and all of that. Okay? Actually, you know what? I'm going to put the form in my bio, in my Instagram or TikTok, wherever you follow me. It'll be in my bio and it will be there for you to fill out.
And on YouTube.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, then we'll do it on YouTube too. Okay, that's way easier. Anyways, we are going to do a Q&A this morning. I put on my Instagram, which now I'm thinking maybe I should have put it other places too. But anyways, put on my Instagram some questions y'all have. Steven doesn't know
I have not seen these, so
yeah,
I'm not ready.
So I've briefly looked through them, so I don't even really know that much either. Let's start out lighthearted. Okay?
Okay.
If you could live anywhere other than the DFW area or Virginia, where would you move to?
Ooh, that's tough.
I'm going to assume inside the states.
Well, you could go anywhere, but mine just wouldn't be outside the states. So
yeah, mine wouldn't either.
Where would
Love
I go?
vacationing, but I don't think I could live.
Oh, this is tough. Do you have one off the top of your head?
You're gonna shit on me for this one.
What?
Florida.
We're gonna be Florida people. No offense to the Floridians out there. My whole family's from Florida.
His whole mom's side's from Florida. But I would want to go to 30A and live there. What an amazing life that would be.
So you just want to live on a beach?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. I don't know if I have a state. I definitely have I'm the opposite. Either mountains or a lake, or Texas doesn't have enough nature for me where it's the seasons aren't really different enough. It's just hot. So I don't know, anywhere where there's a little bit more temperate weather, but I don't really like cold either, so I don't want to go too far north.
That really limits you.
It does limit me. I was gonna say Virginia somewhere,
you can't
but
do
on
that.
a lake. I'm
Florida.
Gonna go with Florida. Sure. I don't.
Wow, we're moving to Florida, everyone.
No, I'm just saying that because I don't have a better answer.
Okay, but let's be clear. The whole reason we live here in Texas is because of family.
Yeah.
I would definitely live in Austin over Dallas. Austin is more,
maybe.
yeah.
There's a lot there. There's a lot also
but
there.
nature-wise.
Yeah.
It's prettier.
It is way prettier.
I lived in Austin for 7 years, and I did not take advantage of it. But I feel that was the same with Virginia. Didn't take advantage of the beauty.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Another lighthearted one. When did you each realize you wanted to marry each other? I'll start out. Wow, you have to think that hard?
I gotta pinpoint the exact moment.
Okay, for me, it was literally our first date.
Oh, it's so easy if it's the first date. Come on.
Well, it was. So Stephen and I met on Hinge, and which was I don't know if it's still a thing. Kids still use that these days.
I think so.
Okay, well, on Hinge, a dating app, and I kind of blew him off for a while. 3
times to be specific.
And it was nothing against you. I was just so sick of dating. I was so over. I was going on 2 to 3 dates a week with bozos.
Bozos.
Yeah.
I think you were probably one of my first when I got on Hinge.
Well, I don't think the other ones were from Hinge. I think they were from Bumble.
Interesting.
But yeah, they were a bunch of bozos. One of them became a good friend of mine, but Other than that, bozos.
Okay, so yours was first date.
Well, yeah, so we went on our first date finally. And I remember after our date, I literally called Sarah, my sister. And, well, I was FaceTiming her. And I was like, I'm going to marry that man. And my mom was in the background. And she was like, you're a hopeless romantic. You're getting ahead of yourself. And I was like, no, I am. Look at me now, Mom.
I mean, looking back, she was right. I mean, she had the right instinct there to taper you in. It worked out, but... Look, mothers out there, if your daughter comes back, I would just, set the realistic expectations and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mine was probably... It was definitely in Virginia.
In Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
That was like 6 months after we started dating.
Yeah.
Oh.
I take time to process.
The whole reason I moved to Virginia was because I was like, we're going to get engaged and married. So you're telling me before I moved, you weren't sure?
I'm saying that we had to keep going in order to know for sure.
Well, yeah.
And I let that ultimatum fly where I was like, look, I'm not doing long distance again.
Yeah, he did. He gave me an ultimatum.
This is where I'm just way more analytical. You're not going to get the romantic answer out of me. You're going to get like I wanted you to go there and like things were going well and I think like it was tracking that way. That's it. I don't know.
It's funny because you kind of are a romantic guy when you want to be, yet you're not at all.
Run that back. I would just say it just developed over time. It was like I loved your goofiness, your fun, and it just like happened.
Oh.
I definitely was in Virginia though. I mean, when I like decided, okay, I'm gonna propose in Greece and planned it all out.
Yeah, because I moved to Virginia in March and we got engaged in July of that same year.
Yeah.
So I guess sometime within those months.
Sometime in between there, yeah.
Okay.
There doesn't always have to be a moment.
We're now in a fight.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Just kidding. Okay, I got this question a lot. Mom, mother-in-law, if you're listening, watching, maybe fast forward.
Maybe don't listen. What's about to happen?
It's about sex, baby.
Oh gosh.
It's about you and me. It's about, you know that song?
Oh, I do. I'm just shutting down from uncomfortableness already, so go ahead.
Okay. I got this question so many times in different ways, but basically, do you ever feel like sex is just not fun while trying to conceive? How do you make it not being a chore? How do you keep things exciting? How do you keep it good every month? Any tips?
Our answers are about to be wildly different. I don't know if you want to go first or I want to go first. I would say, sure, at sometimes maybe. I don't think it's ever a chore for me.
Yeah.
It's more like a lottery ticket.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, like
a lottery ticket.
It's more like, all right, time to go. Like I have thoughts on. You do have to like keep it. It can become like definitely a task, even a task that I enjoy as opposed
to there definitely have been times where I'm like we have so much going on. And I'm like, we have to hit it, baby. Like within this time frame, and you're just like not quite there mentally.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. I'll say there's times where we're tracking ovulation, and like I know we have to get going there, and it's just.
By the way, we're always tracking ovulation. I'm just the one doing it.
Yeah, well, I'm never tracking ovulation. You know what I meant. Like it's just like scenarios where it's like, oh, we have to like force it in when we're like traveling or doing stuff where it's tough. But I think the only way to keep it interesting is to like maybe do date nights or things around it.
For sure.
The boring part, no, I just enjoy sex. Pretty much every single time. It's a good thing.
Like such a boy.
Mm-hmm. Would recommend.
For me, it's never like boring, or I sometimes I do feel like it's a chore, but also you have to realize like I'm a very type A person, so I'm working through this, but like I have a to-do list, and when I'm ovulating, it's on my to-do list, and it gives me anxiety until it's done. Then I'm like, okay, we got to make sure we do it. We got to make sure. I've gotten way better. At the beginning, it was really bad. Now it's not quite like that. But I still kind of have this sense of like, okay, we need to make sure it happens. And another thing, I don't always tell Stephen exactly when I'm ovulating. Like, I feel like you sometimes kind of know, But sometimes I just don't tell him. So
Yeah,
it's not like as, I don't know, pressure. But I mean, I've had a lot of women being like, you know, my husband feels like he's under pressure and like he can't perform. Stephen has never had that issue. So unfortunately, we can't speak to that.
Yeah.
But I guess my advice for that is like, don't tell him when you're ovulating.
Yeah,
Or
I will say sometimes...
keep it fun and spunky. Like, you know what to do. You know what he likes. Like, start it out that way. You know? Like, men are so easy to please. So easy to please.
I resent that.
Like, I swear, whenever I know he doesn't want it, I'm like, okay, we can pull out my bag of tricks, and he's gonna all of a sudden want it, which, by the way, he always wants it, but anyways.
Okay, whoever knows me, skip this part of the episode.
He is so red right now. But I guess my best piece of advice is, number one, y'all both need to be in an understanding the reason you're having sex in this time period. Because there are times where it is frustrating when we have a lot going on. We're out of town or whatever's happening. It's like we have to make sure we get this done when everyone leaves the house, when we're on vacation, or, you know, whatever it may be. Or like life's been stressful or whatever that is. But like we're both in an understanding of like, okay, we want to have a baby. This has to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my tip is date night. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, date nights are good because it gets you out.
Yeah, you just gotta treat it. I do like when I don't have to constantly think. It's like, oh, it's ovulation time. So the times where you do just like, you know, like I kind of always figure it out because I'm like, why is she being so nice to me? Like, what's going on
you're
here?
just more, or I am just more turned on during ovulation time.
Exactly.
God made us that way, where it's just like you got more. What is it called? I'm like losing the word. Not turned on, but like. I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. Turned on.
I don't know what we're doing.
You got more sexual energy.
Sexual
I don't know.
Drive.
Drive, yeah. My sex drive is greater. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean that's a different topic, but men and women typically just have different sex drives in general.
100%.
So
although I have friends that their sex drive's higher than their husband's. That's like wild for me to comprehend.
Yeah.
Wild to me. But it is true. Okay. What's another one? Has your relationship gotten better or suffered while trying to conceive?
It's changed.
Yeah. I definitely think both.
Yeah, 100% both. I mean, there's just like aspects like where I don't know if we would have got there in terms of what we share. Just like when you're going through a challenge together. I mean, I'm going to totally guy talk this, but you know, like think of a team or anything like sports where it's like you're going through some type of goal and moment together. It brings you closer and like you just share those experiences. So it sets you apart from others and like you have this special intimacy from that. And then on the flip side for me, it's also, you know, as the question we just answered, like, yeah, we had to kind of figure out how to like bring back something to where sex isn't just automatic and, you know, we it's a lot of emotional high and lows, which is tough to deal with. And it's like, you know, there's some weeks or days where it's like really hard. So I would say it's just been different.
Yeah, but it's also all we've known in our marriage.
Yeah,
which that's kind of wild too. It's all we've experienced. I was talking about this with my therapist the other day. He was like, all you have experienced is the trauma with trying to conceive. And like, it affects me more than him in like the trauma ways, like with my brain. And it's like, that's all you've experienced. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously we've had incredible memories and stuff outside of this too. I mean, you have to keep living, mm-hmm. but I feel it's all we really know.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I agree with him. Like it's been both. Like obviously we're going through something that's really freaking hard. There's been studies that have compared a diagnosis of going through infertility similar to someone who's diagnosed with cancer when it comes to like the trauma of it and the hardship going through it. And that's not to belittle anyone that's going through cancer, but I think it's more so just to like raise awareness to let you know how hard it is going through infertility. And I don't know, we have a whole episode on like tools we've used to help us get through it, but yeah, I definitely think both. Okay, how many kids do you want? I get this question all the time.
I don't really think I've adjusted. Like I will take as many as I can get is really Actually, that's my adjustment. I would say is like before it was. I think I said 6, like 5 to 6. I wanted a larger family, although with some of the families I grew up with, like that wasn't that. I mean, that's a big family, but there are people I knew that were like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like Brady bunches.
Can you imagine 12 kids?
No, I couldn't. But my answer is like as many as
God will give us.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I used to say 3 to 4, and now I'm definitely open to more, but also, like, we will be very happy if whatever God gives us.
It's a number. I mean, it's not a number, sorry.
It's not really a number. It's whatever God will give us, and, like, we both want to pursue adoption as well, so, I don't know, I feel like that really is something we have to pray about, and kind of, like, when it comes to adoption, of like how many times we're going to adopt or what that looks like. And then, I mean, a lot of life has to happen too. So I don't know. We don't really have an exact number, but I used to say 3 to 4. And then I realized, I can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, this one's more for me. With the knowledge you have now, are you pro or against hormonal contraceptives? Actually, you could answer this too.
Is that
like birth control? Yeah.
You go first. I'm happy to hammer on, but
I mean, I wish I never got on it. I was getting on it not to prevent pregnancies. I was getting on it for issues that were going on in my body, like really bad period cramps. I had cystic acne, and not a lot, but I had a few, like every time my period would come around. And like the main reason was my really bad period cramps. And I wish that doctor would have dug deeper. I wish I would have been more informed of, like it was a Band-Aid. It was a Band-Aid that really, I mean, birth control does deplete you of so many things, and it's a synthetic that's going into your body, so your body stops producing those hormones on its own. And let me tell you, I've had friends that get off birth control their first month and they get pregnant. And then I think what our infertility is because of birth control? No. Mm-hmm. Do I think it plays a part in it? Yes. Because this is why. Okay, hear me out. And I know this is like controversial. I feel like people are like, I hate talking about birth control because people get so like up in arms about it. But I'll tell you why. I truly do believe if I never got on birth control, I would have been forced to dig deeper into the pain I was having on my periods, which was caused from endometriosis that we now know. So birth control suppressed a lot of that. At least the birth control I was on, there are obviously so many of them, but the one I was on suppressed a lot of those symptoms. So it did help with my period pain. I still had painful periods, but it wasn't as bad as it was without it. And so I do believe that I would have had this diagnosis before I met him, because I would have been advocating for myself and digging deeper and been like, okay, this isn't normal. So
I'd never thought of that. It's actually a really good thought.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I really do think that if I never got on it, I would have had this diagnosis earlier.
I'm not pro, I would say. Just because like the synthetic part, like it's literally messing with your natural body's, like, and I get their reasons to try it, but you're kind of messing with your body's natural hormonal cycle. And
yeah,
I do hold a little bit of resentment. Like, you're on for 10 years, a decade. Yeah. It's like, I did wonder, like, what would her body have been like had she not been messing with her natural.
I definitely wonder that.
Yeah, and so that stuff, I'm not really for it for that. If there's like a really good medical reason, maybe, but if it's like just so you can have more sex, then I don't know. I don't think it's worth it.
I agree. And also just like, I think we should just educate ourselves more on it too, like before you get on it, or if you're on it, like figure out the type that you're on, what it's doing to your body, what it's depleting you of, because it is depleting you of things, so you need to make sure that you're putting more of that in your body to help you. So anyways, how does Stephen feel about me sharing everything for anyone and everyone to see?
I think it's been through stages, I'd say, right? Where at first, I mean, it was new and uncomfortable, and it was like, I don't know, that's like the whole development of like people sharing this much is really only in the past decade, I would say. Like,
and we should let me just preface this really quick. I'm an overshare through and through in my life. With anyone I talk to, I overshare, always. Stephen is an undershare.
My friends could think I am dead, honestly, from week to week.
I mean, even with us, I feel like I always have to dig with you. Like, you just are. You keep things, like, very tight to your chest. Is that the phrase?
Yeah, they're close to my chest.
Close to your chest.
Yeah, there's things for me and there's things for others.
You're just very private.
Yeah, I'm a very private person. And, I am, even with what you do now, I don't go on your TikTok. I don't go on your Instagram. So, I treat it as your business, your life, and your sharing, and nothing bad happens to me for it. Like, it's whatever. It's to the side, and I don't like to engage with it, and I'm never going to be someone that's like sharing everything about myself, but I've seen all the positive it has brought about. I think for you, for others, and for stuff like that. So, I'm not against it. It's just like it's not for me, right?
And that's why you just don't see him often, if ever, on my social media.
Mm-hmm.
I had some trolls being like, her husband's not supportive at all because he's never on anything. Yeah. And that's just not the case. I just respect his boundaries with this.
It's like making a movie, right? It's like, okay, everyone wants me to be another co-actor, but like there's a ton of other roles to be played, right? I mean, from the side, like funding, from director, I'm just putting this into terms like you don't have to be directly supportive of like participating in TikToks or something, I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's extremely supportive. Yeah. Like, he's never been like, I don't want you to do this anymore. There have been like some real ideas that I have that he's like, can we stop doing that one? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. You can guess which ones those are. They're about sex.
And like, but he's always been extremely supportive. He's always like, go after your dreams. He sees the positive impact I make with this community and it makes on me. Mm-hmm. But I 100% respect your boundaries of like what you want to be in and not. Like, this podcast, it's shocking that he's doing this. Mm-hmm. Shocking. But I think it's really exciting though.
Yeah.
And it's cool because y'all get to see a like bigger inside view of us.
Right. And I would say like...
So all you trolls that think he's not supportive.
Well,
he is.
Are you supportive of like your spouse's job? Like, do you go to work with them? Do you go do the thing? No. Like,
yeah.
Like you're behind the scenes. Like, so I get why it's easy to think that because you're so active in it. So it's
for sure.
Well, of course. Why wouldn't Steve want to do it? It's not for me. I don't enjoy it.
And I didn't get it when I wasn't an influencer. Like, I didn't understand why other husbands weren't more active in it. And, like, when I was, like, really big into Beachbody, too, and I wouldn't see the husbands being big into it, like, I didn't understand it until I went through it. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay.
It's okay to like doing something and for someone else not to enjoy doing it. Like
100%. 100%. But he's very, very supportive. Okay, has faith been a part of your marriage in the trying to conceive time? Yeah, we have a whole episode on this. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but it has, it's been our rock.
Yeah, I don't really know where to go without it, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Episode on it. Go
yeah. Someone just asked, like, what should I expect symptom-wise if I start letrozole? I have a whole episode on my letrozole experience in season 1 of the podcast, so definitely go give that a listen. But I want to preface, like, these medications work differently for everyone. It was a very dark time for me.
Yeah, and I would say we know people and you know people that are on letrozole and had no issues, and they were on something else that you didn't have issues with. I forget the name of them. And so it's completely up to you, but you do have to just look out for those signs and decide if it's worth it or if it's maybe I should switch to another one, because for you it was pretty bad. And just be aware.
Be aware of like what, because I wasn't aware the dark thoughts I was having was from letrozole. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I opened up to Stephen about them that he was like, this is the medication, we need to get you off. And literally within days of getting off of it, it was like the fog lifted.
Yeah, you just couldn't see like the mood and the what you were going through. Like, you needed a third party almost.
Yeah. So all symptoms are different. I have a whole episode on it. Be aware. I think a lot of great things come from these drugs. I guess that's what they're called, drugs, yeah. Great things come from them. Our nephew was here today because of letrozole. Like, it was her second cycle of letrozole. She got pregnant. So I think great things come from them, but just be aware. We're almost done. Okay, how long before you told family you were having issues with conceiving? My husband doesn't want to tell ours.
I remember, well, we obviously told our family about the miscarriage, and then I feel like it might be different for us because Addie started to share about this stuff on social media, so there wasn't like an option to keep it to yourself. Like, that was what your whole online presence really became about. So, how long after did you kind of just naturally transitioned?
Yeah, so we got pregnant the third month trying, July of 2020, and shared about our miscarriage then. And then I kind of just started to share like along the way. So our family was very in tune. I think my family more than yours, but that's just because obviously I talked to my mom more than I talked to your mom. And nothing against that. It's just the mother-daughter bond, whatever. But I don't know. I think I don't know if you're asking for advice here, like if your husband doesn't want to tell, but you do want to tell. I think it's really important to have this conversation with him about how you may need the support.
Yeah, and I don't know where you're at in terms of the timeline, but I think you don't have to label it as something. You can just share, like, oh, we have, like, you naturally share that.
Yeah, but do know, like, if you begin to share, you are opening the doors to unsolicited advice. You are opening the doors of people maybe discrediting your feelings because they've never gone through it. So I think it's very important to give them grace as you share because they just don't know, and that's okay. We're here to educate. We're here to just, carry on. But it also is very important to just know that when you do open up, you're kind of opening those doors for other things too. So, okay. Do you ever feel like y'all are missing out because your friends have kids and you don't yet? Not a lot of our friends actually have kids yet.
Yeah, we're like just getting to having a few that do. No, if anything, I feel like I get to share with them like some joy. That's just, I get to go and like interact and just be a part of their lives. So it's nothing but it's additive for me.
Yeah, same. I don't feel like we're missing it. I mean, obviously, would I love to have kids? Yes. Would I love to have play dates with some of our friends that do have kids? Absolutely. But I feel like we're not the only ones that don't have kids right now. Like, even in our family, like, it's 50-50. In my family. Sorry. My brothers, one of them does, one of them doesn't. My sister, one of them does. I don't. So I do think that if we still aren't having kids, like, because we get together with my family quite a bit, like if everyone has kids and we don't, I will feel some type of way then. But I think regardless, we will have kids by then, adoption or whatever. So yeah. How in the world do y'all stay hopeful after years of negatives? Our faith?
I'm just naturally that way in some aspects. And then
he's so optimistic.
Yeah, like it's not like what will be, but we're doing everything we can. The door hasn't been shut. It's not like we've had to deal with someone saying like it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, doctors around us have been like, oh, we're doing XYZ, oh, it's looking good. So, I mean, those little snippets of improvement are what leads me to hope, right? Whether it's you had a surgery we found and we did too, and it's like, great, we've got our body primed, we removed all the endometriosis from her, twice now, or, Dr. Yee, and you're like, okay, we're clearing them out in this, or XYZ. So there's just little areas you grab onto hope of like, hey, maybe this next thing will work, and I think that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an up and down journey. Like, I wouldn't say I've been 100% hopeful every single day these last 3 years. I mean, even this morning, when I opened up that email telling me that they found yet another infection in my uterus, I literally messaged one of my friends and I said, it's moments like this where I want to give up. Because it's so frustrating, because it's just like, we keep thinking we're finding it and then something else comes. And we keep thinking this is it and then something else happens. So it can be very discouraging and very frustrating, obviously, but I think through God and God alone, I have found so much peace and hope on this journey. And I also think, like, without hope, what do we have? Like, what do you have without hope?
I don't know what the alternative is.
you don't have hope. And like, then what? Then you just give up. Yeah, exactly. So
I know what the alternative to hope is: despair.
Despair.
I know
there
what the
we
word
go.
is, but I'm saying, what else? What other options do you have, really?
Okay, is it hard that both y'all have sisters that got pregnant that weren't planning on being pregnant? No.
Not for me. No.
100% no.
Yeah.
Our nieces are the biggest blessing in our life. They are so dang cute, so fun. We love them so much. Both pregnancies weren't planned, but it's things like that when I'm like, God had such a specific plan for these babies in our family's lives. Like we have watched these babies just like grow our families so much closer together, and I mean it's just been incredible. So absolutely not. No. Okay. How do you divide chores in your household? Something we always argue about. Let me take you back.
Yeah.
It was New Year's Eve, 2021. And Stephen and I stayed home. And I was getting really annoyed that I was doing so many of the chores. And do you remember this?
No, keep going.
And
New
then
story.
I said, we need to divide up the chores. What would you rather do? Laundry or dishes? And you took dishes. And until this day today, he still does dishes and I do laundry.
And I do outside.
Yeah. Well, and there's a bunch of other things like we both do too.
And trash.
I think he does like the quote unquote man chores. Like, I don't mean that negatively. I mean that like he does like the outside, he does the trash, he does the dogs, like that kind of stuff.
Sounds like she only has one chore.
Okay, no, that's not even true.
This is the perfect time to renegotiate.
No. Laundry, cleaning, bedding.
I think the answer is I don't want to call it negotiation, but yeah.
You gotta negotiate.
Talk about it, negotiate, say, okay, what's working, what's not. I mean...
I think the dishes and the laundry were my biggest annoyance because I was doing both of them all the time that I was like, I don't have enough time in my day. And there was just two of us.
Yeah, and you gotta know what type of people you are. Like, I'm not a clean person, she is. Like, you really do. Like, if you have two clean people, maybe it's not our issue. Or, like, if you're both dirty, it's like, okay, well, then it's gonna be a challenge. But I would say you kind of have to negotiate. I don't know if you've tried negotiating and it's just like they're not receptive to it. Well, but I mean, you have to divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. And do it now before kids because, my gosh, after kids, I can only imagine.
And then it's probably situational based on like, is someone full-time working, someone not? But if you're both full-time working, you're just going to have to figure out who does what.
Yeah. Okay, we got two more.
Okay.
Advice for when struggling to get pregnant and your mother-in-law won't stop asking for a grandchild. I think you got to just open up and tell them that you're struggling or you're trying.
Yeah. Does that happen?
I know. I get this question a lot. Like, what do you do when like your in-laws, it's normally the in-laws, are like causing a lot of pressure on you. And my only thought is they must not know that you're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if they do know you're struggling, that's kind of rude.
Yeah, because if they know you're
That's so
trying,
insensitive.
Right, so it's like, if you're not telling them, oh, we're not trying to have a kid, and you're saying you are, then I don't get why.
Yeah. I don't know. My best piece of advice would be open up and tell them.
If it's in-law, so if the question's in-law, then it would be the person whose family it is. Tell them.
Your husband should tell them.
Yeah. Like, that's what I would do.
Like, have your husband...
I'm not the I love my mom to death, but, like, if she did, like, I'm just very open with her. It's like, I always feel like it's my responsibility if my family were to step over and vice versa. So
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, same here. Yeah. Yeah. So just have your husband tell him that, like, hey, we're struggling or we're trying. Like, we don't want to talk about it or, like, please stop asking, be more sensitive. And I do think there are just people out there that don't understand boundaries too. And if that's the case, then like you have to set the boundaries. Don't go over there as often. Don't see them as often. Like when you are there and you're in conversations, make sure your husband's there with you so you're not like caught alone. I don't know. Okay, last but not least, how do you experience joy for friends' pregnancies while you're still grieving for yourself?
I think this is you. I mean, I feel like this is more directed towards you.
Yeah, so a few things here. Number one, so many people struggle in silence. So whenever I hear that someone's pregnant, number one, I think that like they could have very well struggled in silence. And I do know people get pregnant obviously without struggling. But I would never wish this journey upon anyone. Like not even my worst enemy. This has been the hardest thing we have ever gone through. It has affected every single aspect of our lives. It's literally been like an infectious disease that just gets everything, that I would never wish this upon anyone. So like hearing that someone's pregnant, it truly is the biggest blessing, because we now know it's obviously not that easy to get and stay pregnant. So I truly do look at it as a blessing. And also I think about how, like, I think about our nieces. Like, they weren't planned, yet they have been the biggest blessing in all of our lives. And another thing I think about is, if God did it for her, he can do it for me. It's just his timing, not mine. So that one, that's always, like, really stuck with me, because I'm like, okay, God, like, I know it's your perfect timing. And obviously that's hard too, because, I mean, there are times where I'm like, why? Like, are you punishing me? What's going on? Like, why have you still not given this to me yet? But I truly, like, it just brings me hope, because I'm like, hey, God did it for her, he can do it for me. And then lastly, we've had so many people in our lives get pregnant over the years, some on purpose, some on accident. We've had people who've had multiple children since we've gotten pregnant. And obviously it's hard for me, but I've never experienced jealousy. And I want to say your feelings are valid. However you're feeling, they're 100% valid. But I really have never experienced jealousy. It's more so like, I'm happy for them, but I'm sad for me. Because it's just a reminder of, you're still not pregnant yet. It still hasn't happened to you yet. Like, they may go through a whole 9 months of pregnancy and you may meet this baby and you still may be struggling. But again, I just think, like, I wouldn't want anyone to struggle. I know that this child is such a gift. And, God is showing me that it's possible, that we just need to keep going. And our story may just look a little different than someone else's. And I truly do think there's a lot of purpose in your time of waiting, whoever you are.
Yeah, I look at this as any other arena of life. Someone else's blessings are mutually exclusive to mine. I'm looking at this with faith. I think it is your emotions, you can feel that way, and that's valid, but I think you do have to get over it, because I'm not going to look at other people's houses, jobs, whatever it may be, situational blessings, and say, well, if you do that, then you're going to start to be bitter, and I think you have to avoid that. It's additive. Someone else's, those kids brings joys to my life, if they're my friends or my families, and so I know it's tough, but I mean, they are mutually exclusive things. Like, I just don't, you can't be always outward looking at what others have. Yeah. Otherwise you will, eat yourself up alive, kind of with that jealousy.
Like, their child wasn't meant to be your child. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's finish her out. And we're going to start doing our high for the week. I don't know what to call it.
Like, I don't know. You pitched this? I didn't know I had signed off on it. But
Yeah. We can call it like our baby of the week.
No.
You could call it the peak. You could call it your high. We're still working on it. If you'd like to comment and let us know what we should call it, that'd be really great. But what's your peak for the week? That rhymes. I like peak for the week.
It was actually, I just got back from a trip where I got to see my best friend's newborn. They just had a baby boy, and so getting to...
He's so cute.
I hadn't seen him in a while, and got to meet their new baby, and that was just like a ton of joy and fun to do.
Stephen kept sending me pictures, and I was like, I want one. I want one.
He's so cute.
My peak for the week? It was being able to sleep through the night when you weren't here and have minimal anxiety and being scared. Yes, I barricaded myself in our room.
Yeah, she put a chair against the door.
I barricaded myself in the room. We have an alarm system. We have 2 dogs, all the things. But I still get so freaked out when I'm home alone.
So your peak was that you were able to sleep through that. Okay.
Yeah, I had like minimal amount of like running scary thoughts through my head before falling asleep.
I'm so very happy for you. But I'm glad I can be back. And
me too. Man, these last 2 nights have been the best sleep in a while since you've been back.
I do what I can.
Okay. All right, you guys, if you can leave us a review, that would be so great. We would so appreciate it. And if you have any questions, always comment them below, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.